Hi, this is Brendan from Watto Training, and in this tutorial we take a look at the hierarchy of control. Here are the sources of information for this tutorial. This presentation is designed for driver trainers. The information contained in this tutorial is general in nature and does not take into account your personal situation. You should consider whether the information is appropriate for your needs, and where appropriate, seek professional advice from work, health and safety in your state and territory. The hierarchy of control is a system for controlling risks in the workplace. The words hazard and risk are often used interchangeably. However, these terms have different meanings. Hazard, something that could potentially cause harm. For example, a shark. Risk, the degree of likelihood that harm will be caused. For example, surfing in shark-infested waters. A hazard can cause harm. A risk is how likely it is to do so. The hierarchy of control is a step-by-step approach to eliminating or reducing risks, and it ranks risk controls from the highest level of protection and reliability through to the lowest and least reliable protection. Examples of workplace injuries include slips, trips and falls, accidental breaks of client's property, back injuries, neck injuries, psychological injuries. The hierarchy of control involves the following steps. Elimination. This removes the cause of danger completely. Substitution controls the hazard by replacing it with a less risky way to achieve the same outcome. Isolation separates the hazard from the people at risk by isolating it. Engineering, using engineering controls, for example, making physical changes to lessen any remaining risks, redesign a machine by adding safeguards. Administration, use administrative controls to lessen the risk. For example, install signs, rotate jobs. And personal protective equipment, PPE, require your employees to wear PPE, for example, provide gloves, earplugs, goggles, iridescent vests. The ways of controlling risks are ranked from the highest level of protection and reliability to the lowest, as shown in the diagram. The workplace health and safety regulations require duty holders to work through this hierarchy when managing risk under the workplace health and safety regulations. As you can see in the inverted triangle, down the bottom we have the least effective measures for managing risk through to the most effective, which are up the top, elimination. Reducing the risk may involve introducing a single risk control or a combination of two or more different controls. If it is not reasonably practicable to eliminate the hazard and associated risks, you should minimize the risk using one or more of the following approaches. Isolate the hazard from people. This involves physically separating the source of harm from people by distance or using barriers. For instance, install guardrails around exposed edges and holes in floors. Use remote control systems to operate machinery. Store chemicals in a fume cabinet. Flammable liquids being stored no closer than 20 meters to any building. Substitution involves replacing something that produces a hazard, similar to elimination, with something that does not produce a hazard. For instance, a high toxic gas being replaced with a low toxic gas to achieve the same outcome. Replace solvent-based paints with water-based paints. An engineering control is a control measure that is physical in nature, including a mechanical device or process. For example, use mechanical devices such as trolleys or hoists to move heavy loads. Place guards around moving parts of machinery. Install residual current devices, electrical safety switches. Set work rates on a production line to reduce fatigue. Machine guards being fitted to all bench saws. Administrative controls are work methods or procedures designed to minimize exposure to a hazard. In most cases, administrative controls use systems of work to control the risk. For instance, personnel being educated and trained on the safe use of toxic material. Use signs to warn people of a hazard. PPE is the least effective means of controlling hazards because of the high potential for damage to render PPE ineffective. PPE limits exposure to the harmful effects of a hazard, but only if workers wear and use the PPE correctly. Examples of PPE include earmuffs, respirators, face masks, hard hats, gloves, safety goggles, and hearing protection. Thanks for watching. This has been Brendan from Watto Training.